Selected Short Stories. The Pleasant Surprise by Barry Payne. I had got the money by work done at home, out of office hours. It came to £4 altogether. At first, I thought I would use it to pay back part of our debt to Eliza's mother, but it was very possible that she would send it back again, in which case the money spent in sending it would be wasted. I am not a man that wastes pennies. Also, it was not absolutely certain that she would send it back. I sent her a long letter instead. My long letters are almost her only intellectual pleasure. Of the £4, I reserved 2 for myself and resolved to give 2 to Eliza. I did not mean simply to hand them to her, but to think of something in the way of a pleasant surprise. I had tried something of the same kind before. Eliza once asked me for 6 shillings for a new tea tray that she had seen. I went and stood behind her chair and said, "No, dear, I could not think of it," at the same time dropping the 6 shillings down the back of her neck. Eliza wanted to know why I couldn't give her 6 shillings for a tea tray without forcing her to go upstairs and undress at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was not a success. However, I have more than one idea in my head. This time, I thought I would find out first if there was anything she wanted. So, on Sunday, at tea time, I said, not as if I were anything special, "Is there anything you want, Eliza?" "Yes," she said. "I want a servant who will go to bed at 9:30 and get up at 5:30. If they had only do that, that's all I ask. If they would only do that, that's all I ask." "You will pardon me, Eliza," I said, "but your statement is not quite correct. You said that was all that you asked." "What you meant? Do you know what I meant?" "I think that I know precisely." "Then, if you know precisely what I meant, I must have spoken correctly." But as we went to church, I discovered that she wanted a new jacket. Next morning, I wrote on a piece of notepaper to buy a new jacket, "With your husband's love." I folded the 2 sovereigns up in this and dropped the packet into the pocket of Eliza's old jacket, as it hung in the wardrobe in the bedroom, not telling her what I had done. My idea was that she would put on the jacket to go out shopping in the morning, and putting her hand in the pocket, get a pleasant surprise. As I was leaving for town, she asked me why I continued to smile so mysteriously. I replied, "Perhaps you, too, will smile before the day is over." On my return, I found Eliza at the front door. "Come and look," she said happily. "I've got a pleasant surprise for you." She threw open the drawing-room door and pointed. In the middle of the table stood a beautiful plant. It stood in one of the best saucers, with some colored paper around the pot, and the general effect was good. I at once guessed that she had bought it with the money she had got back after buying my present to her, and thought it showed very good feeling in her. "I hope you have not given too much for this," I said. "I didn't give any money for it." "I didn't understand." "Well, you must know I had a present this morning." "Of course I know." "Did mother tell you?" "Yes. She has sent me a beautiful new jacket. Then a man came round with some plants, and he said that he didn't want money if I had any old clothes I didn't want. So I gave him my old worn-out jacket for this beautiful plant, and—" I remembered that I had seen the man with the plants farther down the street. "Excuse me for one moment, Eliza," I said, and rushed out after him. He was a big red-faced man, and he made no difficulty about it at all. "Yes," he said, "I bought that jacket all right. There it is at the bottom of my box, and I haven't even looked at it since. I'm not going to look there now either. You say there were 2 sovereigns in the pocket. A gent like you doesn't want to take money from a man like me. If you say the 2 sovereigns were there, then they are there now, and I can return you £2 out of my own pocket, in the certainty of getting them back out of the jacket pocket. I trust you. I know an honest man when I see one." With these words, he drew the money from his own waistcoat pocket and handed it to me. I took it somewhat thoughtfully. Hadn't you better make quite certain?" "Not a bit," says he. "If those sovereigns were there when the jacket was handed to me, they are there now. I could see that you were a man that could be trusted. Otherwise, I would have looked in the pocket long before this." "What have you been doing?" said Eliza, on my return. Changing the subject, I said, "Your mother has given you a new jacket. Let me have the pleasure of giving you a new hat." I pressed the 2 coins into her hand. She looked at them and said, "You can't get a hat for 2 farthings. You know, dear, what did you rush out for just now? And where did you get these 2 farthings covered with gold? You'll be taking them for sovereigns if you're not careful. Were you trying to take me in?" I did not quite see what to say for the moment, and so I took her suggestion. I tried to persuade her that I was just having a bit of fun with her. "You don't look as if you were having a bit of fun." "But I was. I suppose I ought to know, if any man does. However, Eliza, if you want a new hat, anything up to half a sovereign, you've only to say it." She said it, thanked me, and asked me to come and help her water the plant. "It's such a beautiful plant," she said. "Yes," I answered sadly, "it looks very expensive."